Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and gives this video a thumbs up. Thurston, who was on the Bachelorette, was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer in February. She promptly began a therapy regimen that included oral medicines and monthly hormone-blocking injections. The injections put her into early menopause, but they were vital to keep the cancer from spreading. It had already reached her liver. She got scans earlier this week to determine whether the treatment is effective. Katie said that the results indicated a significant shift in the malignant lesions. Stay tuned for more information. Thurston has been upfront and honest about fighting cancer at such a young age. She's just 34. Her cancer treatment was delayed because she was mistakenly labeled as stage 3. Her previous doctors had advised her to begin chemotherapy, but the diagnosis changed just before she was scheduled to begin. The Bachelorette star has stage 4 breast cancer, which has migrated to her liver. However, the malignancy is not as aggressive as originally believed. Her new doctors offered oral medicine over chemotherapy. Thurston disclosed in a bluntly honest article that she discovered the lump a year ago but disregarded it. She then postponed therapy multiple times. She claimed she postponed therapy to change doctors, which turned out to be a positive thing. But then she postponed treatment again to apply for a clinical trial, which she was denied after learning she had stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. Thurston began taking oral drugs around 3 months ago. She had an MRI and PET scan scheduled on July 4th to see if the medication was working at all. Last week, she commented on social media that she hoped the tumors were diminishing or not growing at all. She created a video about the scans and shared it on Instagram. The malignancies in her breast have decreased marginally after only 3 months of treatment. That is fantastic news, but she informed her fans that she will be on therapy for the rest of her life because there is no cure for breast cancer yet. However, she is optimistic that research improvements will occur throughout her lifetime. The news that her breast tumors have shrunk is the best-case scenario. But she's not out of the woods yet. She is still awaiting the results of the PET scan to see whether the cancer in her liver is developing or spreading. She will notify fans as soon as she receives such information. Thurston also posted on the Booby broadcast channel, which she founded to keep followers updated. She shared actual test results of medical jargon with any of her followers who were interested in such things. Many of her social media followers can connect to her battle with breast cancer either directly or through a family member. She has an excellent support system that is rooting for the greatest possible outcome from the other scan. Thurston sat on the edge of her bed, the dim light of early morning filtering through half-closed blinds. The July heat was already rising, but it wasn't the weather that made her break into a sweat. It was the weight of the email waiting in her inbox, the results of her PET scan. 3 months of treatment, hormone injections, and every ounce of emotional stamina had led to this. She glanced down at her dog, Astra, who laid loyally by her feet, sensing that something significant was happening. Katie reached over to grab her laptop, hands trembling just slightly, and opened the file with the same cautious hope she had clung to ever since the word metastatic had become part of her daily vocabulary. The results were better than she expected. Her breast tumors had shrunk. Not drastically, but significantly. A 12% reduction across multiple lesions. There was even more promising news: no new growths were detected in her liver, and the existing spots had either remained the same or shown slight improvement. The oral medications, those small, powerful capsules she took religiously every morning with a glass of water, were working. For now. Tears filled her eyes, and her hand flew to her mouth. She hadn't realized how tightly she'd been holding her breath for the past week, waiting, fearing. She knew it wasn't remission. It wasn't a cure. But it was something. It was progress. She hit record on her phone and began to speak. "Hey guys," she said, her voice cracking from emotion and relief. "I have some good news." The video went up that afternoon on Instagram, with the caption, "3 months in, and we're seeing some response. It's a marathon, not a sprint, but today I get to breathe a little easier." She posted a longer version on the Booby broadcast channel, which had grown to over 200,000 followers, each one of them either battling breast cancer themselves or following the journey of someone who was. Katie never anticipated the community that would form around her vulnerability, but it became a lifeline, a tether to something bigger than herself. She was also candid about her mistakes. In one post, she admitted to delaying treatment while she tried to get into a clinical trial. It was a calculated risk, one she now viewed with regret. The trial hadn't accepted her, and the time lost was something she couldn't get back. "I wanted to be part of something groundbreaking," she wrote. "But sometimes, just surviving is enough." Katie's openness even drew the attention of medical professionals, some of whom began following her account and offering insight. Her posts began to include brief explanations of terms like metastasis, hormone receptor positive, and progression-free survival. The Booby broadcast became not just a personal journal but an educational platform. In early August, another scan showed the tumors had shrunk a little more. Encouraged, Katie and her doctors agreed to continue with the current treatment. But they also began discussing long-term plans, what to do if the medication stopped working, what clinical trials were on the horizon, what kind of support she'd need for potential liver-directed therapies in the future. One particularly emotional post came after she froze her eggs. Though early menopause had taken away her natural fertility, Katie wanted to keep the possibility of motherhood on the table. She hadn't given up on the idea of building a family, even if it looked different from what she once imagined. Jeff, her boyfriend and longtime friend, became a quiet but constant presence. They had reconnected months before her diagnosis, and though the relationship was still young, his support was unwavering. When she lost her hair from the medication, he buzzed his head in solidarity. When she couldn't attend a wedding, he brought the celebration to her, decorating her living room with fairy lights and dancing with her to a Spotify playlist. Katie often said she felt like she was living two lives, the one visible to the public, filled with updates and optimism, and the one behind closed doors, where fear often crept in uninvited. But over time, she began to merge the two. Vulnerability became her armor. Honesty, her weapon. By September, a new scan revealed something she hadn't dared to hope for: one of the tumors had nearly vanished. Her oncologist, usually reserved, allowed himself a smile. It wasn't remission, but it was a powerful sign that the cancer was being managed effectively. Katie celebrated with a small group of friends and family. They gathered on her rooftop, eating cake shaped like a pink ribbon. She made a toast, raising a glass of sparkling cider. To every scar, every pill, every tear. And to whatever comes next. Thanks for watching. If you likes this video, do not forget to subscribe my channel and do not miss any update.